Hi guys, welcome back to Anita Crochets. My name is Anita. Today we are learning how to crochet this flower. I used this flower on this dress, and the tutorial for this dress is also going to be coming soon, so watch out for it. And this is how it turned out after I finished the whole entire dress. So you can use this flower for anything. Put it on a bag, put it on a skirt, put it on shorts. I'm just going to be releasing tutorials that help us give us ideas on which projects to use these flowers on. So I hope I can deliver a few more tutorials on how to do that. Also, I intend to also change a few things about this flower and add some frills to it to be more playful. So I hope I release a tutorial for that as well. Then we can see what more projects we can use this flower for. So to start off, we make a magic circle. I am working with very thin yarn, so I'm doubling my strands. It is fantasy yarns, and I am also working with a 3.5mm hook. Okay, but for whichever yarn that you're working with, make a magic circle, pull through your yarn, and work 8 single crochets into that magic circle. Okay, so I'm going to take it slow because I want you guys to use this tutorial when you get to watching the dress tutorial, so that you get back and watch this tutorial to make the flower for that dress. So it's going to be separate tutorials. The dress will be a separate tutorial and the flower is going to be a separate tutorial, but you need both of them to execute the whole entire design. Now, after you have worked your 8 single crochets, you are going to pull the end of your yarn so that it closes the magic circle, and then work a slip stitch into the first stitch that started the row. At this point, you're going to chain 2, and into that very first stitch, we are going to work 2 double crochets. So that is 1. The chain 2 does not act as a stitch, it is just my turning chains. Now we have 2 double crochets into our very first stitch, and we are going to get into the next stitch and also work 2 double crochets. And we are going to do the very same thing for all the other stitches. We just continue working 2 double crochets into every stitch all the way around until the end of our row. So that will leave us with a total of 16 stitches once we are at the end of our row. So I'm going to let you work your stitches. Just work 2 double crochets into every stitch all the way until the end, and I'm going to meet you there and show you what to do. Now, once you have worked all your double crochets, you're going to work a slip stitch into the second chain stitch that started the row to end that row. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change my yarn and use this technique of the magic knot to add a new color to my yarn so that my petals are of a different color than the color I started with. Okay, so that's how you make the magic knot, and after that you get your scissors and just make sure that you cut these yarn ends right close to the knot, just like that. So now that we have this, we are going to start working our very first petal. So we are going to chain 2. I have my daughter sleeping right beside me. She's always like breathing heavily, so if you have any sound that you're hearing through the background, please bear with me. For as long as you can hear me mostly, that will make more sense. So we are going to chain 2. Like I said, it does not act as a stitch, it is just my turning chains. Now into this very first stitch, I'm going to work a double crochet and then I will work 1 double crochet into the next stitch, just like that. Work 1 double crochet in the next stitch as well, just like that, and then 1 double crochet into the 4th stitch. So we have 4 stitches for the base of our petal, and now we are going to chain excuse me, we are going to chain 2 and turn our work just like that. Into this very first stitch right there, we are going to work 3 double crochets all in that very same stitch. And there we go, into that very same stitch with the 3rd double crochet. Now we are going to work 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then work 1 double crochet into that next stitch as well. So that means we have 1 stitch left. Into that very last stitch right there, we are going to work 3 double crochets all in that very same stitch. So that is 1, and we go in with the 2nd double crochet, and then we go in with the 3rd double crochet. Okay, now we are going to chain 2 and turn our work. Like I said, it does not count as a stitch, it's just my turning chains. Into this very first stitch, once again, I am going to work 3 double crochets. So that is 1, and this is 2. Then we go in with the 3rd double crochet, all in that very same stitch, just like that. Okay, now I am going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch until I have 1 stitch left to end my row. So I just go in with 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. I am being fast because you already know what to do here. Yeah, so in there we go with now we are left with 1 double crochet to end our row. So into that very last stitch, we are going to work 3 double crochets all in the very same stitch. So those are 2, and then we yarn over and work our 3rd double crochet. So this is how your petal should look like. Okay, at this point I have the width that I need for my petal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work. Now for this row I'm not increasing anymore. Instead I'm just going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of my row. So you see, I'm just working 1 double crochet. Just work 1 double crochet into every stitch. Just like that. So do this all the way until the end, and I'm going to meet you at the end of the row to show you what to do. So here is me at the end of my row, and this is how your petal should look like. For the next row, we are going to be decreasing so that we have that, shape of a petal, or a curvy shape of a petal. So what we do is we chain 2. The chain 2 does not act as a stitch. Into the first 2 stitches, we work 2 double crochets together. And after we have 2 double crochets together, we are going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch, all the way until we have 2 stitches left to end our row. So just work this until that stitch right there, and then I'm going to meet you once you have like 2 stitches to end your row. Then I'm going to show you what to do. Now like you can see, I have 2 stitches left to end my row. So what I do, I'm going to work 2 double crochets together into the last 2 stitches. So that means you work 2 incomplete double crochets, then yarn over and pull through all the 3 loops on your hook. Okay, so you can see it is starting to curve. Now what we do is we chain 2 and turn our work. This next row that we are going to work is not any different from the row we have just worked. Yeah, it's not any different. So I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work. And I'm going to work 2 double crochets together into the first 2 stitches. So just like that, we have our decrease. And then again, I'm going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch until I have 2 stitches left to end my row. So just work 1 double crochet into every stitch until you have 2 stitches to end the row. Then we do the very same thing like we have done on the previous row. So you can see this is my last stitch for the double crochets. Then I have 2 stitches left to end my row. So in there I am going to work 2 double crochets together, and that's how I end my row. So here I'm just going to secure my yarn and I'm going to cut my yarn and secure the end, just like that, and then secure my end like that. This I will weave in later when I'm working along the edges of the petals, so don't worry about it. Now I'm just going to show you how to work the second petal and where to start from, so it helps you work the other petals on your own. Now to start my second petal, right there into the stitch where I worked my 4th double crochet is exactly where I start my second petal from. So insert your hook into that very same stitch that had your last double crochet for the foundation of your petal, and pull through yarn and work 2 chains which don't act as a stitch. Into that very same stitch you work your first double crochet, then work a double crochet into the next stitch like you can see, work your double crochet into the next stitch as well, which gives us now 3 double crochets, and then work your 4th double crochet into that next stitch. So everything else is going to remain the same. It's just that you make sure that when starting your next petal, you start from the last stitch that started the previous petal. Okay? So just to show you how to go about everything, you chain 2, which doesn't act as a stitch, and turn your work 3 double crochets into the very first stitch, just like that, and then you're going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch until you have 1 stitch. So that means we work 2 double crochets into the next 2 stitches, so that is 1, and there we go in with the second. Now into this very last stitch we are going to work 3 double crochets just like we did right there. So you work 3 double crochets all in that very same stitch. I am being fast because we just made our petal and you already know how to make the petal. All you needed is how to make the foundation. So we go ahead and pick a leaf from the 3rd row of our petal, of our previous petal, which is you chain 2, turn your work. Into this very first stitch you're going to work 3 double crochets all in that very same stitch, and then you are going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way until you have 1 stitch to end the row right there. Okay, so just like this, you have your last stitch have 3 double crochets. So into the very last stitch right there we are going to work 3 double crochets all in that very same stitch. So that's the 2nd double crochet, and then we go in with the 3rd double crochet. So that's how you have your 3rd row for the petal. So the next row, just like you see here, was just a row of double crochets, no increase whatsoever. So we chain 2, turn our work, and we work 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of the row. So that's my 2nd double crochet. I go in with my 3rd, and here I'm going to let you work this all the way until the end of the row. Then I'm going to meet you there and show you what to do next. So here we are at the end of our row. This is how it looks like. So we go in with this and that row. Chain 2, turn your work. This is when we started to decrease. So into the very first 2 stitches we work 2 double crochets together, just like that. So that is our very first decrease, and then we work 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way until we have 2 stitches to end our row. So work 1 double crochet all the way, and I'm going to meet you once you have 2 stitches to end the row. Then There we go. So here we have 2 stitches to end the row, and what we do into those last 2 stitches, we are going to yarn over and work 2 double crochets together into the last 2 stitches to have our decrease, just like that. So you yarn over and pull through all the 3 loops on your hook. So to work our very last row of this petal, we chain 2 and do the very same thing we have done for the previous row. We work 2 double crochets together into the first 2 stitches, just like that, and then we work 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way until we have 2 stitches to end the row, and into the last 2 stitches we work 2 double crochets together. Okay, so that's how you work your petals, and I'm going to let you work the rest of the petals on your own. You should have a total of 5 petals by the time you come to the end of your flower. So let me let you do that, then I'm going to get back just to show you how to work along the edges so that we have a clean finish. Okay, so here you cut your yarn and secure the end. So let me meet you guys there. Once you have your entire flower complete, then I'll show you what to do for the edges. So just make sure that you start from this very last stitch and build up from it, like I said. So you have 3 petals left, so that we have a total of 5 petals. This is how your work should look like after you have done all 5 petals. This is me at the end of my work, and this is how it has come out. Okay, for my very last petal, I did not cut my yarn, guys. You don't have to cut your yarn. Sorry, I cut my yarn, so I'm just going to start over, but for you, please make sure you don't cut your yarn on your 5th petal, so that it's just easy for you to just continue from where you stopped. Now, because I cut my yarn, I have to chain 1, and so going forward to work along the edges, we are going to work 1 single crochet into this very first stitch, and again work the 2nd single crochet into that very same stitch. Then we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way along this edge until the very last stitch of this petal. So we get in there and get in there. Now this that I'm about to work in is the very last stitch right there. So in there I'm going to work 2 single crochets into this very same stitch. This is just to help me create a corner, not like a corner because I want something smooth that doesn't feel like a corner. Yeah, but just to help me turn over to the edge, the vertical edge of my petal, so that I can work along it without my work not overfolding. So once I have done that, I am going to work 2 single crochets into every double crochet post that is along this edge. Okay, so what I usually do with my single crochets is I work the first single crochet into the double crochet post itself, like you can see, and then I work the second single crochet into the joint of the double crochet post. That what I mean by the joint is that joint where the previous double crochet hit the next double crochet. Okay, right there is what I call that joint. But if that is going to be confusing for you, you can just work 2 single crochets into every double crochet post all the way along the edge, okay, the vertical edge of this petal. So I'm still going in with my single crochets, and here, as you can see, let me just take it slow so you guys can be in position to see this clearly. I am going into the double crochet post itself in the middle of it and working a single crochet. Then the second single crochet is worked into that joint. Now when I get to this last double crochet post, right here, which is the base of our petal. I am just going to get into that post itself and work a single crochet into it, just like that. Then I am going to cross over to the very first double crochet post of the next petal, okay, to this very last double crochet post of this next petal right there, and I'm going to work a single crochet into it. So that means I did not work any single crochets into the base of our petals, not at all, because if you do, you're going to widen the petals, which we are not looking for, okay. So once you have worked that single crochet, then you're going to get into the next double crochet post and work 2 single crochets into that next double crochet post. Then get into that next double crochet post as well, work 2 single crochets. Now here it is easier to see how I'm placing my single crochets. I work 1 single crochet into the post itself and then work the next into the joint of the posts. Now that is into the post, and then the next into the joint of the post. If it confuses you, just work 2 single crochets into every double crochet post. I guess that is easier and much more doable. So this is my very last double crochet post, so I'm going to get in there and work my single crochet. Now into the top of this double crochet post, I am going to work 2 single crochets. This is just my turning point, because I don't want to create a corner. If you work more than 2 single crochets, you're going to create a corner. And if you work less than 2 single crochets, your work is going to coil up and fold, which you're not looking for, okay? After you have your 2 single crochets, we are now going to work along the horizontal edge of the petal. So we work 1 single crochet into every stitch until the end of the row, until like the last stitch along this edge. Okay. So I guess now you know how to go about your edges. I'm just doing this one more time. Right in there, we work into that very last, stitch. We work 2 single crochets just to help us turn to the vertical edge of our work. So once we have made that turn, we are now going to resume working 2 single crochets into every double crochet post all the way down. But keep in mind that when you get to the bottom of your petals, into the very first double crochet row of the petals, you only work 1 single crochet, then cross over to the next petal into the very first row of the double crochets to work your single crochets. So you're just going to continue doing this along the edges all the way until right there where you started your work, and work a slip stitch to close off your edge, and then cut your yarn and weave in your ends. So I'm going to let you go all the way along the edges, and your flower should look like this after you have cut off all the peeping yarn ends and everything. And that's how you crochet a flower that you're going to use for a plaque. Let me see you all in the next tutorials on showing you what to use this flower for. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.